Hello, my name is Georgios Babena, and this is an astrology update with my thoughts on the current Chiron transit. So, first of all, I want to say that this Chiron transit is about a number of keywords that are happening for you and everybody in this world right now until the end of February. And these keywords are identity crisis, self-assertion, purpose, meaning. Who am I? What am I doing here? And Chiron is about the inner doctor. It's about healing yourself. It's about overcoming a disease, a crisis. It's about a whole lot of people getting sick at this time. A whole lot of people are purging. A whole lot of people are asking themselves, what the fuck am I doing? Can't I do something else? Can't I do something about this? How do I fix this? Because Chiron is about a problem that needs to be fixed. And of course, since there's still 0 planets in fire, and all these energies are in Aquarius now, as both Mars and Venus are moving into Aquarius, we have a period of aloofness. And everybody is asking themselves how to be an individual in a society that is anti-individualistic. How to understand your own identity and assert it in a society that hates your identity, that considers your identity to be an enemy. This realm, in case you didn't know, it's structured in archetypes. These archetypes come from the signs and the planets and the asteroids. And Aries, North Node. Aries is your identity. And that identity has to be developed. It has to be changed as long as the North Node is in that sign. Because that's going to be the collective destiny. So we can upgrade our identity. So we can show people who we are. But to show who you are, you need to know who you are. If you don't know yourself, how can you act? And that is a problem of Aries. It's always been the problem. The problem for everybody has always been that your identity is unconscious. If you want to be a real person, if you want to be authentic, if you want relationships that are for you, not relationships that are toxic or karmic, you need to be yourself. Yourself, the divine, true blueprint, is always going to reject everything that's not for you. It's going to eliminate your enemies. It's going to protect you against everything that isn't a match. Life is actually quite simple. However, we are distorted. We suffer from programs. We suffer from trauma. And identity is one of the most traumatized parts in the society. And there's a reason why Chiron has been in Aries since 2019. 5 years of Chiron being in the same sign. Perhaps some of you will ask yourselves, why does it take so long for Chiron to be in that sign? Why is it so difficult to understand who you are? Because that's the sign in which Chiron is in fall. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but Aries is the worst sign for Chiron to be in, apart from Cancer. Why? Because your identity is essential. It's the first thing that determines all your actions, all your behaviors. Everything that you do depends on who you are. And who you are, you show through your actions. But these actions need to be consistent. There must be a pattern, a structure behind what you're doing. The problem is these structures are breaking down. And these structures are being regenerated and reconstructed. For as long as this Chiron conjunction Northward in Aries transit is lasting, so that's why people get sick, because they're purging old structures from their system, which are no longer working. Our beliefs, our unconscious split soul parts, they're all tied to the physical body. People get sick where Chiron is concerned, especially in the head area or the face. They get sick perhaps in the eyes or the throat, because the identity is trying to assert itself in a new way. And my whole channel is really focused on identity and how to work with that. And that's always been a problem for me in my life, because I have Chiron on the Mars in my chart. And Mars is the ruler of Aries. And that's very important to understand, that identity is tied to Mars. And Mars is the warrior archetype. So to understand identity is to understand everything that it corresponds to. The archetype that represents you as a person is not the king, is not the lover, is not the magician, is not anything except the warrior. The warrior is in charge of your identity, because the warrior fights for something. The warrior has a goal. Think of ancient samurais. A samurai says, I will fight for honor, or whatever that honor may look like. A samurai may fight for balance, harmony, justice, which is why Aries and Libra are one axis. And Libra is very important to understand as well, if you want to understand identity. Because in the eyes of Libra, your identity has no meaning on its own. You as a person have no meaning if you have no truth, no justice, no structure. That's why Saturn is exalted in Libra, because Libra provides that moral, ethical mission. If you don't have a mission, if you have no morals, no ethics, no values, that's why Libra is connected to Venus, because Venus is in charge of values. If you don't have that, you have no identity. So the basis of the identity is interrelational. It depends on what you like, what you don't like, what you are attached to. So we need to also look at samurai and what was the purpose of these warriors. Why was there a whole cult around them? Because really they tried to fight for something and they based their whole life around it. To be a samurai is to be something very specific, is to fight for a goal, to train for that goal and complete that mission. And that mission may have to do with protection, that mission may have to do with conquest, it may have to do with the succeeding of an ambition or a task. So it's the task that determines the identity. So what's your task? The task is determined by your desire. So what do you want? And once you know what you want, how do you get it? How you get it is the archetype behind it. The archetypal representation that gets you what you want is a projection of your identity. And that's what people are going to see, unconsciously. The problem with all of this is extremely vague. It's extremely up in the air. And most people don't understand anything about identity. So people are completely unconscious in this area. Now here's a problem. A fundamental problem that we have as a society. Identity, Aries, is the fundamental essence of relationships, Libra. Two opposite signs are essential to each other. You cannot have any meaningful relationship with anything or anybody if you do not assert your identity. Your identity is the foundation for all relations that you have. The friends that you have. Well, why is this your friend? Why is they not your friend? Why is your friend a fox? Why is your friend not like a dog or a cat? Why do you wear red? Why not blue? Why do you not watch the news? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? And most of the time, we don't know. That's a problem. We don't know why we prefer the color red over blue. We don't know why we wear a certain type of clothing. Why we have a certain haircut. Why we have certain friends, relationships. That's the problem. Most people have no fucking clue what they're doing or why they're doing it. Why? Oh, shame, toxic shame. Oh, I'm a blind-spotted person. I am not supposed to have an identity. I'm not supposed to have preferences. Is a collective trauma. And that's why people don't know. The reason why people don't know is because people are punished when they try to assert their identity. For example, if you go into a group of people and you say that you only like those people and you don't like those, you are going to make enemies. To have an identity is to have enemies, is to have people you don't like. And consequently, they will not like you. If you have no enemies, you have no clue who you are. And that's a very important thing to understand. The 7th house in astrology is tied to relationships, and it's the house of open enemies. You cannot have a relationship with anybody. You cannot have a friend without enemies. If you have only friends and everybody's your friend and there's no enemies, you are a fake. You're a fake person. You are lying to yourself and you're lying to everybody else. Because when there's no enemies, friends have no meaning. And also, if you're a narcissist and everybody is your enemy, then friends have no meaning. Enemies have no meaning. I mean, nothing has meaning. If everything is the same, if you're the same, I'm the same, we're all the same, like they try to keep telling you, like they're globalizing everything, oh yes, we're all the same, you are born with a clean slate, this kind of brainwashing, then you have no identity. To have an identity is to say, I am not the same as you. I may be better than you. I may be worse than you. How? Well, because maybe of this reason or that reason. But whatever reason you make up, however justified it may seem, however rational it may seem, it is debatable that this could be an illusion. And it is also debatable that your identity is real. Is it real? Because it could be an illusion too. And that's a problem. Because your identity is not an illusion. But people try to tell you over and over and over again that your likes, your dislikes, your preferences, that these things don't matter. And that if you don't like somebody, you just have to change your thinking, right? If you don't like something. We see this in the New Age community. If you don't like what's happening to you, change your perspective. Right there is the programming that says, don't have an identity. Don't have a feeling. It's only a feeling. Doesn't matter. Has no meaning. If the feeling has no meaning, you have no meaning. A healthy identity is to acknowledge, accept, and embody all parts of yourself, both good and bad. A bad part of yourself, of course there's no such thing, but because of the programming, we could say a bad part of yourself is that you don't like working a 9-to-5 job, so it's not as easy to make money, and you will suffer more than a person who maybe does like that job that you hate. Could be a bad thing. So then they try to tell you, oh, just change your thinking. You are the problem. Just function. Just be a robot. It's narcissism that creates an identity disorder. You know how they say narcissism is a personality disorder? That's incorrect. The personality is based on the identity. And the identity is based on morals, ethics, like I explained in the beginning. And everybody knows a narcissist has no morals at all. There's no rules. There's no guidelines. There's no purpose. There's no mission. Nothing. A narcissist, however, has a dilemma. If there's no purpose, no desire, no preference, I will die. A narcissist is a dead person. But the body is still alive. Even if the spirit is dead, the body is alive. And the spirit is inside the body. If a dead spirit is in a body, the body is going to die unless the spirit creates an illusion to maintain it. A narcissist is somebody who creates a false self, a false identity, a false goal to survive. Narcissism is a response to being dead. That's very important to understand. Narcissism is a response to being dead. You are dead if you have no identity. Now, of course, there's many reasons why you wouldn't have an identity. Maybe your parents said, oh, you are wrong. Everything you do is wrong. So if everything you do is wrong, every preference you have, every desire you have, every emotion you have, then your identity is wrong. Therefore, you must have no identity. But this is unconscious. So the narcissist doesn't know he doesn't have an identity. But he has no identity. So the only way to survive, to move, to be motivated, to do anything, is to create an illusion. To say, I'm going to be very important. I'm going to make everybody love me. So everybody can tell me, oh, how amazing I am. And because they say I'm amazing, that's my identity. See, mommy? They say I'm amazing, that's my identity. That's what the narcissist does. So what you can take from this is, whatever people say about you, if that's your baseline for your identity, it's problematic. Because other people cannot really see you objectively. You cannot see yourself objectively. You cannot see others objectively. All you have is subjective reality. That's all you're interacting with. Of course, objective things are, this is a fox. This is not a cat, obviously. So that's objective. But your identity your objective identity, how are you going to figure that out? Because your identity is a construct. It's something in your spirit, in your mind, in your soul, in your psychology. Something that the narcissist has no access to. How do you get access to that thing? That's what this Chiron conjunction North Node is trying to teach you. But you're not aware of this. You have no idea that this is happening. Unless somebody tells you, hey, the reason why you're unhappy, the reason why you lack motivation, why you feel tired, why you feel unhappy, why your relationships aren't working, is because your identity has an issue. You have an issue with identity. Of course, your identity is never the problem. The problem is you are not acting on your identity. You are not presenting your identity. And as I'm talking about this, I can see the question marks. I can get a vision of a cloud above my head and it says, oh, I don't know what is going on. I don't know who I am or what I'm supposed to be, what you're supposed to be, what you're trying to become. If you ask the samurai, you need to become a sword. You need to refine yourself. You need to improve yourself so you can fulfill your mission. So what's your mission? If you have no mission, if you have no purpose, you must die. What has no purpose must die. Only the living have a purpose. And that's why Aries rules life. Identity is about life. It's not about a fictional fantasy that the narcissist creates. A narcissist creates a fantasy to replace the identity he has no access to. So people will accuse you of being a narcissist for trying to figure out, for trying to tell somebody who you are. Of course, you shouldn't tell somebody necessarily who you are, but it's not like you should make a drama out of who you are. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you are somebody. You are not Ram Dass being nobody. Don't listen to that new age shit show. If you are nobody, then fucking die. Please. Because you're a non-entity. To have no identity is to be a non-entity. Nothing can be born, nothing can be destroyed from a non-entity. A non-entity is not a creative force. A non-entity is not moving, it's not changing, it's just fucking dead. What moves, what changes, is an entity. And that entity is a process. You are constantly changing. So your identity is not going to be fixed. The narcissist wants a fixed identity. The narcissist says, I am this, and if you tell me I'm not this, you are my enemy. Somebody who has a healthy identity doesn't give a shit what people think about them. I don't give a shit if you think that I'm stupid, because I know I'm not stupid. To know that I am not stupid is a part of my identity. Now imagine if I didn't know if I'm stupid. Imagine you didn't know you're stupid. And somebody comes, oh, you're stupid. You're gonna be like, oh, I wonder if they could be right. Now I have to figure this out. I have to analyze myself and figure out, am I stupid? Am I stupid? Am I stupid? You know this meme with his numbers. Stupid, am I stupid? If you have no identity, you'll be like, oh no, they said I'm stupid. And then you'll be the narcissist and you're gonna react. If you're really pathological, you're gonna be like, How dare you say I'm stupid? I'm going to prove to you that I'm not. But if you're a very, very fragile person, and you're not a narcissist, and you don't know if you are stupid or not, that's a huge problem anyways. I know I'm smart as fuck. I'm one of the smartest motherfuckers on this planet right now. I know this for a fact. Now, of course, I don't really know this. I say this, and this is my problem actually in communication. I don't know if I'm smart, but all evidence suggests that I fucking am. So, if somebody comes along and says, you know, you're not as smart as you think you are, I laugh about them. Because there's way too much evidence to suggest otherwise. And that's how I look at myself. When I'm in the mirror, I'm like, okay, I'm not really like this, but the point is, I don't care if people think I'm stupid. And I can be in front of the camera of this video and I can tell you with confidence that I'm not stupid. But I also know that it's not possible to know this. A narcissist will say, I am 100% not stupid and there's no possibility that I am. That's rigid. That's actually stupid. A healthy person says, all evidence suggests that I'm not stupid, therefore it is reasonable to assume that I'm not. So if somebody brings me contradicting evidence, I weigh it to what I already know. So identity is something that is produced over time. It's constructed based on your actions. Identity is founded on memory. You remember that you did smart things throughout your life, so that's why you reasonably assume that you are smart. Why am I telling this? Very important. Identity is ruled by Aries and Libra. And Aries sits in this area of the brain. And this area here, that is the frontal lobe. The frontal lobe is the logic center of the brain. It rules higher reasoning, deductive skills, and analysis. That means somebody with a healthy identity, their identity is based on that healthy reasoning. Somebody who has frontal lobe damage, which is a narcissist, doesn't have any healthy reasoning. They have no logic. You talk to them and you know they have no logic. They have no morals, no principles, no structure, because this part of the brain is broken, blocked. There's actually scientific studies that show that narcissists suffer from Alzheimer's much more frequently than normal people. Alzheimer's is connected to frontal lobe damage, and many other brain disorders and cognitive distortions are all connected to this. So if you don't want to suffer from Alzheimer's if you get older, and you don't want brain damage, you better be sure that you figure out what a healthy identity is for you. Not for other people. You don't need to teach anybody anything. But at least to have a sense of, okay, am I smart? Yes or no? Am I a strong person? Yes or no? Do I like red or blue? Okay. And the longer you take to answer these questions, the more problematic your reasoning must be. People suffer from loads of traumas in this area. And I'm going to tell you something that people, this is going to really trigger some people. This is going to trigger, holy fuck. If you're not triggered already by this video should be very triggering. It's very triggering to know, but a lot of people who have early signs of aging, where the soul area is full of wrinkles and their face looks distorted or something, these are people who have an extremely weak sense of self. Fragile, broken, weak. Because a weak sense of self not only creates blockages in the frontal lobe, it also creates blockages in the skin, the brain. Also people who suffer from early balding, hair loss. Sorry to say, but that's all identity related issues. And people say, oh, it's the DHT. Oh, it's the blood circulation to my brain. Brother, it's your identity that's distorted, that you haven't figured out who the fuck you are, and that's why your brain is rotting. Yes, your brain is rotting from a lack of identity. So if you read Ram Dass' book, Being Nobody, your brain is going to rot. Oh, this is so funny. Anyways, I'm not judging people. I'm just making jokes about it because I'm a trickster. And I have these problems too. I'm not exempt from identity issues. The reason why I try to understand this, the reason why I make this video, is because these are issues I deal with. And if I didn't know what the fuck an identity is at all, I'd still be like, oh, am I a narcissist? I wonder if I'm a narcissist. If you are not a narcissist, but you are wondering if you are, that's called having an identity disorder. On some level. No, I'm not trying to be dramatic here. But seriously, you don't even know if you're a narcissist, then you really got issues. Big time. And if you have a problem with somebody in a relationship. Now imagine if you don't know who you are and you have a relationship with somebody and they tell you that you have a problem when actually they have a problem. Who are you going to believe? Yourself, not knowing what the fuck you are? Or are you going to believe them? So that's a problem, really. That's why so many people have relationship issues. Because they don't know, am I morally deficient? Yes or no? Did I just abuse this person like they say I did? Yes or no? And that's a big issue also with abusers. Abusive people. People who do bad things to other people. They don't know that these things are bad. They know they're causing harm, don't get me wrong. An abuser absolutely knows what they're doing to you. But they don't know what is wrong. Because again, morals, justice, Libra, samurai, the law, governs decision making, action, Aries, logic, dictates our actions. And an abuser, there's no logic there. There's no logic there. The person is just acting on some kind of program. And this area is supposed to see through illusions because this area is also connected to the third eye. Obviously. Third eye means you can see things as what they are. That means you can identify the thing correctly. That means you can categorize it. It has a structure. You know where it is. You know that this is a fucking fox, not a cat. So your third eye, at least at some level, is working. Even a narcissist can tell that this is a fox. So even a narcissist, you have to understand, has a functioning third eye. However, it's so low functioning that he can't even tell that him being a sadistic piece of you-know-what, trying to abuse you to feel better about himself, that this action is wrong. Because if you know that what you're doing is wrong, you feel guilty. Conscience rules this area. And that's why Saturn is exalted in Libra, because Saturn is the lord of guilt, is the lord of tears. So somebody who does something wrong, they feel bad about what they did. If you don't feel bad about your bad actions, it means because you don't know they are bad actions. The problem is we have language barriers here. A bad action for one person is a good action for another. People are trying to find a consensus reality, and they call the consensus objective reality. And that consensus, which they call objective, we call the law. So that's why they make rules, and they say you can do this, but don't do that, you get in prison if you do this, because of a consensus. So don't think that you have access to objective reality. Even if you touch something, doesn't mean that it's objectively soft. It's subjectively soft. It's soft to my body to touch this. It's soft maybe to your body too. Maybe it's soft to everybody's body, but that doesn't mean that it's objectively soft. Okay? I know this sounds stupid, but that's still important to understand, because people pretend like they have objective reality. Like, oh, this is wrong, this is right. Objectively. No, it's not objectively right or wrong. It's subjectively right or wrong. You have no access to objective reality. None. That doesn't mean that your subjective perception is wrong. Is it wrong to say that this is soft and this is a fox? No, it's not wrong. It's right to say that this is a soft fox. So right and wrong is not determined by objectivity. That's my point. That's very difficult for some people to accept. And you know what? You could debate this, because there is no written rule somewhere that right and wrong is objective in the first place. We don't even know that. So I think it's interesting to talk about this, because it eliminates a lot of belief systems that people have. You know, most of the belief systems that I'm talking about, you find in religion. You know, in religion they say, this is right, this is wrong. There's 10 commandments in the Bible. Now, do you have commandments in your life? Make a list. Make an exercise. Draw a piece of paper and write down 10 commandments you have over your own life. So a commandment that I have is, I need to be healthy. That's a rule I make for myself. I need to be healthy. Most people don't even have that rule. Yeah, of course I will judge people like that if I want to, but only because I feel like judging them. Not because I know that it's objectively wrong to be unhealthy. The moment you make your commandments objective reality, you're dwelling in illusion. And that's exactly what people do in the detox communities, fasting groups, diet, lifestyle. People say, oh, because I need to be healthy, everybody should be healthy. And those who are not healthy, they are dysfunctional, they are bad people. Bro, that's a subjective judgment. It's your opinion. Objectively, there is nothing wrong with being unhealthy. Oh no, you're telling me it's not wrong to be unhealthy? So then my commandment doesn't matter? No! Your commandment is for you. I am needing to be healthy for me. If somebody is not healthy and I judge them, I know it's my judgment and it has nothing to do with reality. It has everything to do with me. So when you judge something, it's about you. It's about what you think, what you value, what you like, what you dislike. It's about your identity. Is that wrong? No! Because 99% of all spiritual community, everything that I've ever found, everywhere throughout society, people claim that because something is subjective, a subjective opinion, subjective judgment, is wrong. When they have no access to objective reality. So they're lying to themselves. They're pretending to be objective. And that's exactly what people are doing in religion as well. So people are religious. They don't know. Yes. My commandment is this, so you're supposed to be like this. If you're not, you are a bad person. So all these beliefs are breaking down when you understand the subject of identity. You understand a lot of things. You understand how to judge people. When you understand how to judge yourself, when you understand where judgment comes from, what the purpose of it is. The purpose of me saying I need to be healthy is to keep myself healthy because I feel the need to do that. Not because I think that's what I should do. If you have a commandment because you think it's what you should do, that's an identity disorder. Oh, I should be healthy. Disorder. I want to be healthy. Healthy. You see. Should has no place in identity. Want, need, desire, that is identity. And what does everybody else do? You should go to work. You should stay in that relationship. You should comply to the law. You should be agreeable. You should be nice. You should be social. You should go out more. You should take care of your health. You should have money in your bank account. Should is the language of a tyrant and the narcissist. So it's pathological. It's mentally ill. Commandments are for you. They're not for others. Identity is only about you. So when people say, oh, you don't matter. Oh, you think you are somebody. You think you have desires. Come to Buddhism. Detach from your suffering. Right? Forget your desires. Be nobody. So we can manipulate you. Because then we can tell you what you are supposed to be. Which is a non-entity. Which is to be empty. I am nothing. Is the biggest identity disorder that exists. There's nothing worse than being nothing. Do you know that? It's a hole in the heart. It's like you become a black hole. You become a narcissist. When you really believe on an unconscious level, when you believe at your core, yeah, I'm not talking consciously, just thinking about it, by reading spiritual books and following spiritual teachings. No, if you believe truly that you are nothing, you are mentally ill. And you need to be put in a mental asylum, to be put away from society because you are a danger to yourself and everybody else around you. That is the worst mental illness I can possibly imagine. Do you know why? I'm going to tell you something about myself, about my Mars conjunction Chiron aspect, and my father. Now my father, he always taught me that being a man or a person is about sacrifice. It's about helping others. It's about spirituality. It's about doing what God tells you to do. And that your own mind, your own personality has no meaning. That if you follow your mind, which is you are acting against God. You are mentally ill. That is what my father always taught me. You see, that is actually why I'm doing all this identity disorder work. Because my father, since I was a child, since I was born, has taught me the wrong things. And these are the things that are taught in all major religions: Buddhism, New Age, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. In every religion on this planet, in every society, everywhere, and I mean everywhere, they teach you that being a healthy individual is about self-sacrifice and doing what God tells you to do. So, even if you are not consciously thinking about it, even if you're not aware this is happening, you are still unconsciously programmed to believe that. And you will go to the New Age, you will go to religion, you will go somewhere asking somebody, tell me what to do. Tell me who I am. What is my function? What's my purpose? Tell me. Because me, telling me, oh, no, we cannot do that. No. Oh, no. We are a bad person, right? We are selfish. We evil. We are a narcissist, right? That's what they keep saying now. Nowadays, do you know how many times people tell me I'm a narcissist? Because why? Because I claim that what I want takes priority. That I don't care what you want me to do. I don't care what you think is right. I don't care about your morals. I don't care about your rules. I don't care about God punishing me for being who I am. If God punishes you for being who you are, if you believe being who you are deserves punishment, you are mentally ill. You are deranged. Again and again you need to be put in a hospital. But that's most people. That's the majority of people. They don't know this. But they believe somebody, someone, something tells them what's right, like government. Hence we are doing all of this programming, because government. Somebody needs to give you a law. That's why the law exists. It's the only reason really why it can exist. And you follow that. Or you are dysfunctional. There's something wrong with you. It's a military attitude. It's all about control. Because what you want is unpredictable, unknowable. When you give birth to a child, you have no idea what is going to be your favorite color, what is going to be your talents, your skills. I have no clue if I ever have a child. So when you are born, you have no clue. So somebody needs to tell you, what do you want? What is your favorite color? Who are your friends? Who are your enemies? Yes, enemies for all you people who are brainwashed, like I was just 2 years ago, who believe you shouldn't have any enemies. There's something wrong with you having enemies. All of these programs. Oh, why is it wrong to have enemies? Why is it wrong to be at disagreement? To be at odds? To be at a distance? If that's where you want to be, what you want. If I want to be an enemy, I will be an enemy. I'm an enemy of society. I'm an enemy of this control system. I'm an enemy of narcissists. That's why I call myself a narcissist hunter on my page. I'm an enemy of anybody who tries to tell other people what to do. Who tries to control people. Government. Yeah, government is despicable. Police. Yeah, who gave you the right to tell other people that they belong in prison if they don't wear a mask? And religious people, who gave you the right to dictate what reality is? And that reality tells me that I'm going to burn in hell because I'm homosexual. So you're telling me my sexuality is dysfunctional? Who told you this? How do you know? Ah, yes, your book told you. So you are pathological, you are mentally ill, you're deluded. So these people are my enemies. My enemy is illusion. My enemy is lie. How do I know somebody's lying? I don't know. I never know anything. I don't know shit. I assume that religious people are mentally deranged lunatics based on the evidence that I have, on all the information I gather, on my logical, very, very high functioning third eye reasoning, frontal lobe fully operational, because my analytical skills are fucking working for the reason that I do not take anything for granted. I do not believe to have all the answers, and I don't believe anybody has the answers. But I observe. I wait for reality. This is reality, okay? A fox in my hand. I can touch it. For reality to show me what the fuck is happening here. And what we see over and over again is that people who have an identity disorder will go to religion, to cults, to the government, to an organization to tell them what to do. It's a fact. So there are facts. Doesn't mean they're objective, because even the facts, you need to use your brain to figure it out that it's a fact. Your brain has no objective, again, no access to objectivity. But you keep pretending with your use of language. You keep pretending that this is true and this is not true. Yes, it is true because you assume, and that is good enough. That's right. So what your logic says to you is good enough. If what your own brain, your own senses tell you is not good enough, again, you are mentally ill. And you need to be in a hospital, you need to go to therapy. If you trust your senses, that's good enough. Why? Because that's all you have. So I'm talking about reality. Knowing your identity, which you cannot know. It's a logical fallacy to say, I know who I am. No, you don't. But you have reasonable assumption that gives you favorable outcomes. Because reality, meaning the external world, is responding favorably to your assumptions. Now, if you look around, if you really look, if you open your eyes, you will find that external reality, which is composed of people, which means society, your friends, your family, people around you, they reward, they give favorable outcomes to illusion, to denial, to inauthentic being, to identity disorder. So we live in a world where identity distortions, where trauma, narcissism, psychopathy, mental illness, religion is rewarded, and reality, meaning health, is punished. So then we are wondering, why is there so much confusion? Because you are biologically designed to do only one thing: to seek favorable outcomes. That's it. To survive more effectively, to use less energy, to require less effort to be. And it requires a considerable amount of effort to fight enemies which are everywhere around you, which are brainwashed, programmed, hijacked. You are surrounded by enemies, do you know? People who have been brainwashed, people who don't know who you are, who they don't know anything, but they think they know. And they put you in a box and they say, oh, you are in this box now? You are supposed to do this, and if you don't do this, we hate you. So then we cut you off. We will not support you. We will not love you if you are yourself. So your biology says, oh no, what am I going to do now? My support is cut off when I'm myself. So let's not be ourselves. However, that's not all. Because to be yourself requires far less energy than being a fake. So the problem is the reptilian brain, which is only concerned with survival. And survival depends on community, agreement, cooperation, harmony, peace. War, disharmony, conflict is threatening to your survival. So it's threatening to be yourself in a society that is in conflict with your true self. So if you are really yourself, if you're really a healthy person, you are an enemy to loads of people, meaning you are at war. Because remember at the beginning of this video I said, the warrior represents the identity, the samurai. So, harmony, peace, the one thing you're trying to achieve, it's going to be impossible on the outside. But it's possible on the inside. To be at peace with yourself. That has to be the goal. Every healthy identity has one goal. To be at peace with yourself. For your actions, your behaviors, your opinions, your thoughts, your feelings. We call this ego congruence. Being in alignment with yourself is to be in alignment with nature. Doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. The narcissist, in his complete mental illness, is completely focused on the outside. How do I look? What do they think? My reputation, my status, my money, my car, my clothing, materialism, which is fine, there's nothing wrong with materialism. But the point is, it's all about the outside. The more identity disordered you are, the more you look outside of yourself to tell you who you are. Oh, I have this job, I make loads of money, so I must be important. But wait a second, there's somebody else who earns even more money, so I must beat them. I must be in a competition with them to know who I am. So before I can say I am better than them, I must first beat them. And that's exactly what narcissists do. So we live in a society that is competitive, narcissistic, worshipping a death cult, worshipping looks and appearances, because you can't even say, I'm unhappy today, I'm depressed, I don't feel so good. And then somebody say, oh, you're being a downer, good vibes only. Why do you have you so selfish? Why do you look so sad? How the boxes are trying to be established around you to put you in a prison. Because that prison is the only safety people know. Because it's not safe at all to be yourself. It's not safe. Threatens your survival, meaning it threatens the reptile brain, The soil threatens your survival. So that's why people are disconnected from the soil. It's very simple. It's all about survival. Of course, it's about safety. So how do you establish safety? Are you going to wait are you going to wait for safety to arrive before you take action? Then the action will never happen. If you wait for the external world to become safe first, before you come out and ruin your reputation as you should, you're going to be stuck in prison forever. So yeah, of course I could go on and on about the subject. But this video, I made this video because this Chiron transit on the North Node, that's what it's about. Ultimately, you're going to be confronted with these issues. And what are you going to do about it? When you get punished for being yourself, what is your response? When your survival is threatened, your health breaks down, you get sick because of the suppression. And then the moment you finally assert yourself and do what you want to do, the external does not reward you. If the external reward is your focus, the inner reward will never come. But what is the inner reward? Is it round thus being nobody? That's what everybody does. Is it narcissism? Oh, tell me how great I am so I can feel great about myself. Is it religion? Is it God? Oh, if I sacrifice myself to God, I will find fulfillment. Is it my father? Who the fuck is it is going to fulfill you on the inside? You approving your own actions. That's going to be your fulfillment. That's all you needed. You looked for validation outside, you looked for things to work out, but all you needed to do is to agree with yourself. So are you in agreement? Are you in agreement with your actions? Why the fuck not? Because if not, then you must change your actions. However, keep in mind that a lot of this is unconscious. Most people are in complete denial. They say, oh yeah, I live the life that I want to live. I am living the dream. I'm getting all this money, all these people. I have this, I have that. Meanwhile, the decisions are not their own. The decisions are driven by fear, not by love. Identity is based on love. It's a romance you have with yourself. It's the ultimate love story. There's nothing more romantic than identity. Yes, because why would you even care about being at harmony with yourself? Why do you care? Why not just keep going as you're going, doing things you don't want to do to maintain your reptile brain's safety? Why not stay there? Why not stay in the comfort zone? What pushes you out of there? Is it fear that pushes you out of your comfort zone? Certainly not. So what could it be? What drives somebody to say, I had enough of this? Frustration, hatred, anger. These are the engine of a healthy identity. Oh, did you just get a fucking light bulb for once in your miserable life? If you're watching this, not so miserable then. If you can finally understand that it's not love is going to save you, it's your hatred. Of course, this is a little paradox, because where does hatred come from? A little quiz. Hatred comes from your love for the truth, from the love for your freedom. If you don't love freedom, you will never hate prison. Yeah, people who don't love their freedom, they are fine with their prison. That's why actually there's many stories throughout history that show this very interesting relationship between love and hatred. For example, in Naruto Shippuden, there's a clan called the Uchiha. The Uchiha clan develops a technique to open their eyes and get special powers, spiritual powers, if they lose a loved one. Somebody that's very precious to them, if they lose that person, and they go into despair, misery, suffering, when they go through hell, they find their hatred. For what or who made them suffer? And that hatred changes their eyes and unlocks special spiritual powers. But only when they loved the person that they lost. Only then do they get the hatred to unlock their powers. Okay? So this is not new information that I'm telling you. This is not like, oh, our people didn't think about this. Plenty of people thought about this. This is not new at all. However, this is not mainstream information. So everybody's like, oh, you shouldn't hate, hate is poison. Right? This fucking bullshit. This fucking brainwashing. I'm fucking tired of it. I had enough of it. All this nonsense around me. Everybody acting like, oh, you shouldn't hate, you shouldn't be angry. What the fuck? Can we fucking get over this already? How many hundreds and thousands of years do we keep repeating this lie? But there's something wrong with hate, when hate is the only thing that can break you out of prison. If you don't hate your prison, enjoy. Of course, I'm just acting. Because I'm a trickster. You know, I can make you believe that I'm emotional. I can make you believe anything. And you wouldn't know. I can tell you anything. And if you're really smart, then you realize that you can tell yourself anything too. You can tell yourself so many lies about what's real. And you call that reality. You base your entire life around that reality to survive. Do you know what I needed to survive? I didn't need approval. I didn't need for things to work out in my favor. I needed for my fakeness to be punished. I needed unfavorable outcomes to my illness in order to find the hatred I needed to break free. And that is the basis for everything I'm telling you. This whole video is founded on hatred, which of course originates in love. So whatever programming people have running around emotions and human feelings, how some feelings are bad, others are good, we can have those or not this, all these boxes, all these judgments for the human condition, this comes to an end in the sign of Aquarius. And that's where most planets are right now. So you could say all of this video is Aquarius energy. If you have any prominent Aquarius placements in your chart, perhaps you can relate. So if you found this video helpful, leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're interested in my services about astrology, you can message me anytime. You can reach out to me on Messenger or email, and I can go through your whole chart and do full natal chart readings. And I will address your questions you have about yourself as objectively as I possibly can, while figuring out what the fuck is going on for you. to explain this shit show. So stay tuned and see you in the next video.